So lots of Rivian in the news lately, especially about the truck, the R1T. But we're not going to be talking about the truck today. Rather, let's take a close look at the one I think a lot of people are more interested in. Yep, the big boy SUV, the R1S. What's up, motorheads, and welcome back to Gearbox Pizza. So everybody likes trucks, right? Sure, but look, for most people, an SUV just kind of makes more sense. Now, if you're looking at Rivian these days, the lion's share of the news has been all about the truck, but that does make sense. You see, the truck is out. You can sort of buy one, assuming you got your pre-order in like forever ago, and there's even a bunch out there in the wild. There's plenty of YouTube videos, yada yada. So having said all that, personally, I think I'm a little bit more excited and more interested in the R1S, and I think that's for a good reason. Anyway, I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with Rivian at this point, but for those of you who may have missed this whole EV startup craze, Rivian is one of the big boys. They may be new to this whole thing, but they're backed by some deep pockets, specifically Amazon and Ford, to name a few. They're also way past that startup phase, as the company, at the time of this recording, they're valued like $35 billion. And look, most importantly, they've actually started manufacturing and delivering vehicles. Now, it's still very much in the early days and manufacturing numbers are pretty low. So Rivian is expecting to deliver just about 25,000 vehicles this year instead of the 50,000 they said they would. But yeah, look, it's not really Rivian's fault. You may have heard about this chip shortage. Oh, and then there's that crazy dictator. Anyway, production is down for just about everybody, so there's plenty of forgiveness for Rivian here. The other big thing you may have seen in the news lately is this massive price hike that Rivian recently rolled out. Yeah, look, it was a big one, and man, did it ruffle some feathers, and rightfully so. You see, this wasn't a little bump here and there, like basically what Tesla's been doing every few months or so. Nope, this was big. Overnight, the cost of Rivians, they jumped by about 20%, which is a lot, especially when you're looking at vehicles that were pretty darn expensive to start off with. Anyhow, as you can imagine, there were plenty of reservation holders that felt like they got the whole bait and switch routine, which I get because they sort of did, but look, now, credit where credit's due. Shortly after the price hike, Rivian walked back those numbers for reservation holders, but sadly, all new future orders, well, they're gonna cost you. So a lot has changed since we first started covering the R1S. There's new motor options. Yes, a less expensive and less capable dual motor option, as well as a shorter range battery that's gonna save you a little bit of cash. There's been plenty of other tweaks as well, and we're gonna go through all of them while we build out the one we would get, and maybe even the one we think you should get. That is, assuming you've got the small fortune that's now required for the privilege to drive one of these new electric monsters. Anyway, I think it's time to fire up that configurator and start building out this R1S. All right, so first things first, we got to choose between the standard Explore pack at $72,500 and the Adventure pack that does bump the base price up by $5,500 all the way to 78 grand. So what do you get for all that extra cash? Let's take a look. There's dual front bumper tow hooks. Not that exciting, and sort of surprised that this isn't just standard, but whatever. There's an upgraded Meridian sound system, very nice. The interior finishes are a natural grained ash wood instead of some matte black material. You also get front ventilated seats, which is nice, and your front passenger seat's gonna have lumbar support, and then there's some Compass yellow interior accents. You get a nicer headliner and floor mats. Oh, side note, if you got your heart set on that fancy green interior, well, it is only available with the Adventure pack. Anyway, I'm not sure if these add up to like $5,500 in value, but I bet the take rate on this is gonna be pretty high, so I think we're gonna pull the trigger. All right, next up, we're gonna take a look at these motors. And all right, look, this is brand new. Yep, a dual motor option. Now, I was really thinking there would be more savings here by dropping down to the entry-level power, but the difference here is only 6 grand, which really isn't that much when you're looking at dropping between 80 and 100 grand, right? Now, you do still get all-wheel drive, as the layout is 1 motor per axle. Although the reality is that the all-wheel drive in the quad motor version is just gonna be better. I mean, I don't think you can overcome physics with smart programming just yet, but then again, what do I know? The next thing you'll notice is that power is down, but it is still very, very, very fast. Check it. 0 to 60 is still stupid fast for an SUV at 4 seconds, but not as fast, obviously, as that ridiculously quick quad motor version that can out accelerate like plenty of supercars. Yes, 3 seconds to 60. That's fast. Look, power-wise, we're down from 800 horsepower to 600 horsepower, and torque is down from 900 pound-feet to 600 pound-feet. But look, 600 horsepower is so much horsepower. It's just not right to say like only 600 horsepower. The reality is that the dual motor version is already faster than you need, but I suspect with the difference of only 6 grand, yeah, look, most buyers are just gonna opt for that quad motors, even though they don't really need it. I mean, no one really needs that much power. Well, I mean, most people don't, but I don't know, seriously, 6 grand, yeah, we're getting more power. Yeah, we're gonna do it. All right, so next we're looking at batteries, and right off the bat, you might notice that something's a little different here. While with the truck, you've got 3 options. Yep, here you've only got 2, so what's missing? Well, with the R1T, you have the option to drop an extra 10 grand over the large pack to get that jumbo size max battery pack that's gonna be good for 400 plus miles. Oddly enough, this is not offered for the R1S right now. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is, and I'm totally just making a guess here, but it might have something to do with the physical size of the pack. You see, the wheelbase of the truck, well, it's about 15 inches longer than that of the RS1, and it sort of stands to make sense that this sort of opens up more room to shove even more cells in there, right? And look, again, this is just a guess, and if you have a better idea or you actually know, please drop a comment. I would love to hear it. Anyway, so that leaves the large pack and the standard pack, but again, it's not quite that simple. You see, if you go for the big boy quad motor option, well then you're just getting the large pack, you have to. Range-wise, you're looking at about 316 miles. But if you get the dual motors, the large pack will be good for 320 miles. Yeah, look, I know it's not much of a difference, but I thought it was worth pointing out, so here it is. So if you get the dual motors, then you can drop down to the standard pack and save yourself 6 grand. Range takes a hit, but look, it's still a pretty decent 260 miles. And look, I know this is getting more expensive by the minute, but with such a comparatively small price difference between the two, I'm betting most people are just gonna opt for the big battery, and look, I think we will too. Yeah, look, you can start to see this is getting a little expensive. All right, moving on, and it is time to pick some paint, and again, I could be wrong here, but I think these prices may have changed a bit. Anyway, there's this LA Silver that stands alone as your only no-cost option. Everything else is gonna cost you. For an extra $17.50, you can choose between white, limestone, and forest green. It's all kind of nice. Look, if you're looking to drop some more cash though, well, for $2,500, you can choose between Red Canyon, Midnight, Rivian Blue, El Cap Granite, and Compass Yellow. Look, at this point and at these prices, a couple of grand really isn't gonna move the needle, so you might as well just pick what you want anyway, right? Yeah, so we stuck with the silver with the truck, but here, let's just go with the, I don't know, this El Cap Granite, that's cool, I dig that. Yeah, we're gonna go with that, why not? All right, so on to the wheels. Well, wheels and tires, and these are all the same as you can get in the truck, and there's several options to choose from. And just like the truck, I'm gonna give Rivian some credit here by making these 21s, these really nice 21s actually, standard. Well done. Dig those. Okay, so first question here, are you really gonna be spending time off-road? Yeah, well, if so, you can upgrade to some all-terrain rubber. There's 3 wheel options here, but they all kind of come with the same tires, so it really comes down to just what looks best to you. There's 2 different aluminum styles for an extra $2,500, but if you're into like blacking these things out, these black wheels are gonna cost you an extra grand. Yes, $3,500. Then there are these slightly bigger 22s available, and same story. The silver ones are an extra $2,500, while the black 22s are $3,500. Personally, I think the standard 21s are fine, and you'll get just a little bit more comfortable ride than those 22s. And look, if your heart's set on black wheels, seriously, just pick up some black wheel paint on Amazon. It is super easy to do. You can save yourself a grand, and like, if I can do it, you can do it, I promise you. Okay, so next up, we're taking a look on the inside. Now, because we stepped up to that adventure trim, we've got 3 options here to choose from. The black is gonna be our standard no-cost option, while the gray and green interiors are gonna set you back about 2 grand. I don't know. Look, I sort of wish they had brown as an option here, and look, here's why. So black is fine, but it does sort of make the interior look pretty dark, obviously. Gray interiors, in my experience, has sort of been a bad idea. I mean, look, pretty much all light colored seats are just gonna stain too easily, especially if you wear jeans like ever. Then there's this green. Yes, this green. And look, although I think it's actually pretty cool, it might grow old after a year or two. I'm just not too sure, but what the heck. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. Let's go with the green. Yep, we're doing it. All right, so next up we have a whole bunch of options that we're not really gonna spend too much time on. Look, while the R1T, you get that option of having this super trick pull-out stove, which is super unique and just kind of awesome. Yeah, you don't get that option with this fella. But look, you still get a tent option though, so that's something. I don't know, do you camp? Yeah, well, here's a tent for you. But it's not cheap though, it's $3 grand. But hey, if you've made it this far, I don't know if $3 grand is really gonna move the needle much. All right, so where does that leave us? Well, we're looking at about 95 grand, which is kind of a big price jump from where we were a few months ago. Now, you can still keep that price down to just about where it was, but you're gonna have to drop down to the dual motor setup with the little battery. In essence, I think there's another way to look at this price jump. Instead of paying 20% more, you can pay pretty much the same as it was, but you just get 2 fewer motors, a bunch less power, and about 60 miles fewer range. Look, I'm really curious if these price hikes are gonna have an effect. What do you guys think?